Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel for a brand new Sorare video, the top 10 tips for beginners, or perhaps you might be more advanced on your Sorare journey, and these tips will hopefully help you out. As always guys, if you enjoy the video, please drop it a like, subscribe to the channel, but without further ado, let's get into tip number 1. So tip 1, in my point of view, again just as a disclaimer, these are my top 10 tips on Sorare. Take this with a pinch of salt if you would like, but my first tip is to beat the game, not the players. And what I mean by that is to play Cap 240 as soon as possible. Now, I appreciate if you're brand new on Sorare, you might start off in the Amateur League, the kickoffs, for example, and that is absolutely fine. Get involved, get used to the matrix of scoring, and obviously slowly move up into certain regions and divisions. But in my opinion, once you get a goalkeeper, you want to start playing Cap 240 as soon as possible. With Cap 240, I'm sure you're all aware hopefully of what that is. If not, so Cap 240 is basically you're beating the game. You can also win card rewards as well. So if you score 280 points, no matter how many people do that, as you can see here, you win $5. So 280 points, and you can have everyone above you. As long as you hit that 280 points, you get that $5 in your account, and that's liquid as well. You can go out there and buy more players with that. However, with other leagues such as All-Star Limited, for example, you can win obviously the money in here, the thresholds, for example, but you have to beat other managers to get there. So my top tip, tip 1, is to jump straight into Cap 240. Now, Limited, probably rare. So limited goalkeepers about £5 to £10. I've seen some £8 goalkeepers that I think you can get. Probably going about a £15 team, £20 max, I think, for the Cap 240 limited to earn that $5 threshold twice a week potentially. For rare, again, I've got a video coming very shortly. You're probably looking at about £500. That's my currency, Great British pounds, to play that Cap 240 rare. You do need some extras as well. And then super rare could be anywhere. So goalkeepers, again, a bit of a nightmare in super rare. If you are new to Sorare, you're probably going to be starting off at unlimited, most of you, and potentially some at rare. So limited, jump straight in with 20 quid, for example. Again, this is just my point of view. Then with rare, you probably do need about £450, £500, in my opinion, just so you've got 5 players plus 3, 4 extras as well, just so you can all interlink into the cap mode. But tip number 1 is to jump straight into Cap 240 when you can, and to beat the game. Tip number 2 follows on from the Cap 240 tip, to be honest, and that is to condense the leagues down as much as you can and have a max of maybe 2 or 3 leagues when you are playing. You're starting out on Sorare. So basically, as you can see, hopefully just about to see that as small on the screen. You'll notice that there's some gaps. This is a Sorare calendar throughout the year. Big shout out to Sorare fans for this. If you have looked into Russia there, but just below halfway down on the page in Austria, you'll see the huge breaks in the winter. So just for example, if you've got, I don't know, a Russian goalkeeper in your garage, you go out there and brought a rare Russian goalkeeper, and your other 4 players play in the Turkish division, there's a lot of utility lost in the winter. Same for MLS, K-League and J-League, for example. They are the cheaper players in those divisions. But if your goalkeeper is from Europe and your outfield players are from America, let's just say, there's a lot of time in the season where they both do play, but there's also a lot of time in the season where they won't play as well. So you aren't utilising your gallery. And a lot of people miss out on this. Most leagues do play on the same weekends, as you can see from the Jupiler Pro League in Belgium and the Turkish League. They play quite often. There's some weekends and some midweeks where you might miss out due to cup competitions or overflow of games, for example. If you can keep it to one team, have a one-team stack, obviously collection bonus then does come into play. Again, just in my opinion, try and keep it to max down to 1 or 2 leagues. You haven't got to follow all these different leagues and different teams then. Try and pick a league such as, I like the Jupiler Pro League, to be honest, in Belgium. That's a great league for me if you're starting out on Sorare. The Scottish League can find some bargains as well. Again, just in my opinion, I would avoid the Austria and the Russia League if you want to play over the winter period. But again, that's a bit of a calendar to have a look at. And that is a second tip, to try and keep it down to just a max of 2 or 3 leagues when you just start out on Sorare, have a max of maybe 10 cards. Tip number 3 is to buy a safe starting goalkeeper and maybe just spend a little bit more on your goalkeeper. Now, I appreciate you've got budgets to work with, and goalkeepers are usually the most expensive buy, but it is worth paying those few extra pounds. If so, it means you're getting a very certain starting goalkeeper. So just for example, here I've got Ramsdale and David Raya for Arsenal. Now I'll be staying well clear of these two Arsenal goalkeepers at the moment in time. Raya's got the number one shirt. You just never know if Ramsdale does come back. So if I was starting Sorare today, playing Cap 240 or want to play Champ or the Premier League competition, I wouldn't be going anywhere near these two Arsenal goalkeepers. Try and find a safe goalkeeper. Is there any such thing as a safe goalkeeper? Maybe not. Now, obviously, Allison's, etc., can be a lot more money, but do some research. There is number one goalkeepers, set number one goalkeepers in certain clubs that won't be moved or won't be dropped, unless they've got a big injury, for example. But we're having two goalkeepers like Arsenal do have here, Ramsdale and Raya. This leaves uncertainty of the future of both goalkeepers for future matches. Obviously, Ramsdale before this season, you wouldn't expect him to be dropped potentially. But if you're starting Sorare today, it's a massive tip to try and buy a safe goalkeeper where possible. And again, no one likes to buy a goalkeeper on Sorare, especially the current prices. But trust me, if it makes you spend an extra £10, for example, on a rare goalkeeper, or £20, and it just gives you the peace of mind over the season, trust me, it could be worth it. Research, research, research is tip number 4. And what I mean by that is when you buy a player, do a lot of research, especially if it's not a player you know or league you know and you're brand new to Sorare, you're looking for hidden gems. Always do your research. So just for example here, we've got Nick Olic here, goalkeeper. Now on Sorare data, you usually can sometimes see their contract expiry date here. Now for this goalkeeper, you can't see that on this page. You can get a good example of his age, if he's been playing or not, which is absolutely great. So the first thing I'd recommend you do is to check the contract situation. So you can do that by sometimes showing you on Sorare data here. If you come across to SofaScore, it will say contract until, this until 2026. It's a bit more of an insight, they're not leaving the end of the season. There's no kind of risk with that player unless a big transfer fee does come in. Another great place to look is Discord. So again, just another example here. Make sure you go and join the Sorare Discord. You're missing out if you aren't on there. Sorry. Just behind my head here, I've typed in Nick Olic, and as you can see, I can all see here the news. Now there's not much news on him because there's not been much transfer link maybe from the summer here. Acts are interested, as this guy put on the right hand side if my cursor comes on. Interested in the goalkeeper. Yes, the injury news, contract situation, people want to sell him and buy him as well. Gives a bit more of an insight to the goalkeeper. So make sure you join that Discord and also have a quick look on Twitter before you go and press the buy button. Just give the name a search on Twitter. Honestly, it's so helpful. Look at latest as well. Make sure you always refer to latest and top. You'll see Mick Brady tweeting about him quite a lot there as well. He's in the Dutch squad as well. Mick Brady, say it again. And a few other news here as well. Actually trying time. So just give a bit more of an insight, especially as you come towards the transfer windows as well. Just kind of gives you a bit of an insight to the player as such as well. Look at latest as well. Any injury news, any transfer news as well. So you need to go keep him in close to the main team for the Netherlands. But yeah, do a lot of research before you buy a player. And for any players, especially goalkeepers, are they playing because another player is injured, for example? So always just check. It might be the case you see here that they've been playing the last so many games. I can't think of an example, unfortunately, for this video, unfortunately. But if you go onto the team and you want by, say, a defender or even the goalkeeper, have a look back at their recent results, check back at these sort of dates, little icon button there, and you can see the team, have a look through a few different fixtures. And if you don't see a guy appearing, after such a period, is that guy injured and the guy you want to buy now is replaced his injury and he's not a definite starter. Basically, in a nutshell, guys, do a lot of research before you go out there and press the buy button. My best kind of networks and websites of Twitter, Discord, and SofaScore as well. My next tip, and Sorare aren't going like me after I say this, but it's basically don't use this button here, buy now when Sorare are selling cards. So this is especially if you're on mobile. So this is quite a new feature on Sorare where they're putting cards out in auctions, as you can see, place bid here, but also buy now. And you'll see the price be a lot more than other managers selling as well. Again, if you're on mobile, on the app, you'll only see these cards that you can buy. So if you're on a mobile app at the moment, watch this video, just get on the browser and look at these other cards as well. There might be other times where you might want to buy these cards. So for example, if the first choice keeper got injured, and the backup keeper's definitely going to play for a long period, for example, and you think the price is going to increase, and there's no other managers selling the market, it's a good time potentially to hit the buy now button on Sorare. But apart from that, use the auctions on the place bid. Look at other managers as well. Try and make offers for cards for other managers and to not use the buy now button. Again, Sorare aren't like me to say that. Another little tip on this point is to go on to Sorare data on the game week under rewards. You know, just all these plays on here. So managers like myself, for example, and other managers win rewards each game week. I win a lot of rares, limiteds, cards that don't fit my gallery, cards that I don't use or don't need for my gallery. So just for example, I don't know, Harry Kane, first player I've just seen there. Again, probably not the best example, but you can see Harry Kane's been won here by a manager. Again, Harry Kane's not the best example for this. But you can see my point. Contact the manager. This guy's just won his reward. The amount of time a little bit cheaper than market price. Again, myself, I'm always happy to sell my rewards a little bit less than market price or at market value if the price is right at the same time as well. So look at that page. But again, just to kind of run up that tip is to not hit the buy now button from Sorare unless you have to do the have to. I'm sure Sorare won't let me saying this, but the best way to get involved, get involved on the auctions, especially buying limited cards. There's always auctions ongoing as well. So it depends on player performances as well. Price could increase. So if you're pretty confident a player's price is going to increase, or you think it's a good price, then deal with other managers. Only use this buy now button under when Sorare, the tick button there is selling as a last resort. Tip number 6, and that is you don't need to buy the new season cards. One of the most common questions I get asked on Twitch and in my DMs is, Jack, do I have to buy new season cards? Are they better? Is it worth buying old season cards? What's the difference? Now, in my opinion, guys, it doesn't matter too much. Now, I'll mention in a moment why it might matter a little bit on the new Premier League competition. Now, have a look here. There's a lot of Mo Salahs here, a lot of different season Mo Salahs. Now, this XP, 4% XP for a 2021 card. Now, in my opinion, that's not too bad. You've got 4% XP to build on. Obviously, again, it's not as strong as a new season card. But into next season, this season card here, the brand new 3D card, will lose 5% XP, don't forget. And this card here will still have the 4% plus whatever you can build up throughout the season as well. I've done a video on this as well, on new season cards versus old season cards. But in a nutshell, you don't need to buy new season cards unless you are playing in the new Premier League competition, of course. I won't go into too much detail on this. I've done videos on this before, and I'm hopefully you'll be aware of this already. On the new winter competition where you do need new season cards, but on a general day-to-day basis on Sorare, when you're playing Cap 240, playing All-Star, if you're brand new to Sorare, I'd recommend sticking to those divisions. You don't need to buy new season cards. Again, unless you're going for collections, there's a lot of ifs and buts. But in a nutshell, you're just on Sorare, you want a Cap 240 team with a few different players and different teams. You can go out there and buy some old season cards. Look at the XP. So, for example, here, see these are more or less the same sort of price. Just check out the XP on these two cards here. Sorry, the 4%, 2.5%. Obviously, you go out there and get the 4% one, guys. But again, in a nutshell, in my opinion, you don't need to go out and buy the new season cards. Again, unless you are playing certain competitions such as the Premier League Winter Competition. Tip number 7 is be patient. And the camera's back on me. I have nothing to show on this one. And it's very short and sweet. But it's to be patient on Sorare. I see so many managers on Twitter, for example, always swapping and changing their team, which is each their own. That's absolutely fine. But in my opinion, have a plan, stick to it for a couple of months, be patient with it, see how you get on. You brought those players in the first place, you know, for that certain scenario, for that certain case. So be patient with your team, guys. You might go 2-3 weeks without hitting the threshold, without winning the reward. I've been there, you know, with my guy, got a lot of super rares and rare cards, high-end rare cards as well. And I've had a month where I've thought, oh my god, I haven't won a decent card this month or hit the threshold in the last few weeks. But be patient, guys. Try different strategies, but don't go out there and keep buying and selling cards after one weekend, for example. You think, I've nowhere near the threshold, my keeper's dropped a clanger, my forward hasn't scored, what's going on? I need to buy a new forward. And you keep losing margins and profit potentially in the future. So tip number 7, in my opinion, is just be patient on Sorare. Have a plan, stick to it for a few weeks or even months. Have an end date as well if you can. Stick to the plan. Don't rush when buying and selling players. And again, just be patient. Tip number 8 is to understand market trends. Now, there's two spin-offs to this. And the first one is literally just date when you buy the card. So just using Rob Scoff's as an example here, and he's understanding the best time to buy and sell cards. Now, there's a lot of different factors involved in this in terms of real life, what's going on in the world at the moment, and obviously on performances and just in general news on Sorare. Sorare said they're increasing thresholds tomorrow. A lot of change in prices, or alternatively, if they decrease the thresholds tomorrow, you'll see a lot of different price structures there. But as an overall view, in my opinion, European cards tend to go down towards the end of the season. End of March, April times when you start seeing the decrease. Again, this is just my opinion and my view from playing Sorare over the last 3 years. And you'll see an increase before the start of the season. So just for example here, looking in Jan 2021, that is, I think, no, 2022, you'll see a bit of an increase here. All of a sudden, it starts getting back down to where we were. It's towards the start, maybe in December, so maybe a bit of a jump there to be completely transparent. I always find April time, again here, January, maybe even towards February, it starts dropping down. Again, there's a lot of different factors, market and player performances, and all that kind of stuff, transfers. But overall, again, this is just my opinion, player cards tend to go down. The best time to buy cards is a couple of months before the season ends and over the next couple of months. The worst time to buy cards is just as a season is starting. So maybe, you can see here a big jump in new season card prices in June, July. So get your cards in. If you're starting to Sorare in the summer, great time to start, but don't start buying cards. Again, this is my opinion at the start of the season. MLS is similar. So, for example, we're in November at the moment. MLS is just ending, so your gills, etc. is a good time to buy now. Again, and just in my opinion, as the season starts going back, the buzz gets back again for MLS. You'll start to see, I think, a card increase in price. Now, the other point to this tip as well is the Ethereum side of things. So, if you're playing, in the pound market, you're playing just in your currency in fiat. This doesn't apply to you, but basically, it might apply to actually. In the Ethereum market, if Ethereum goes up on a massive scale tonight or drops half value, that price of a card will change in value as well in terms of Ethereum. And it will do in pounds, but over time it will gradually get back. It might jump up or drop down for the first few weeks, but over a month I would say it will get back to where it was. So if Rob Scoffs is, let's say, for rare card £46, and if Ethereum doubled, his price in pounds might increase a little bit, over a month, but it'll gradually come back down to about £50 again. Where Ethereum again, it does jump up. So if Rob Scott's price, if Ethereum price does increase by double, Rob Scott's Ethereum price will half. Not always the case. Again, I've done a full video on this a few videos ago. On 99% of mine just don't do this, but that's another side to it. That's more if you're into the crypto side on Sorare. Tip number 9, and that is always sell on the up and in the hype. So there's no other better example than João Felix. Back on Gary V Boom, as you can see, I have the card here. Still in this card to this day. £315 in Ethereum. That was 0.75. Back at the end of 2020, and as you can see, the Gary V Boom happened here. And a João Felix sold for just 9.43, which is about 10 grand back in that day. Looking back now, I would say not to sell the card even for £4,000. Absolutely crazy. But guys, if your player is in form, you've got a Carpus here, for example. I had a great off to my super rare around this time. Didn't take it. Still on the card to this day. It is hard to sell when a player is in great form. But trust me, guys, if you're on a budget, on a very tight budget, and you can buy a player at a certain price point, and he's on great form, and he's inflated quite a lot, in my opinion, always sell and replace him with another card. Honestly, guys, it's the best strategy in my opinion. It's very difficult, as mentioned a moment ago, to sell cards that are playing very well. You get very attached to, well, I do anyway. But look at the numbers, be realistic, have targets in mind. If you buy a player at £50, set a target. If you're getting offer for £80, if it does increase to £80 or £100, you'll sign no matter what. Unless obviously all the market does increase at the same time, of course, which maybe happened to Felix, so maybe not the best example. Again, if your guy is on fire and you're getting a lot of offers at a really good prices, and you're playing on a tight budget, again, in my opinion, always sell. And tip number 10, which is the final tip on this video, is don't overexpose yourself on Sorare. Now, this is easy to say for me and other managers that have gone in there and spent the money. I've done a trade very recently which I didn't regret, but I was kind of worried. I'll mention it in a future video, I promise you. I brought a super rare goalkeeper literally 2 days ago and had a massive scare last night. He could have been out with an ACL injury, but luckily for me, it's just a short-term, couple weeks injury, I do believe, according to Twitter. But again, in a nutshell, don't overexpose yourself on Sorare. You'll see managers, even like myself, posting reward videos every week on YouTube. You see Twitter, people posting rewards, great rewards here and there. Don't go chasing that kind of rewards if you haven't got the funds to do so. Again, be sensible on Sorare. You know, if you've got profit, take it out and only spend what you can afford. It's not a gambling website, of course, but can get carried away by putting in funds. So spend, what you can afford and don't overexpose yourself on Sorare. And that is it, guys. 10 tips, mainly for beginners, on Sorare. As always, if you enjoyed the video, drop it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next video.